Hey, everybody, and we are live with episode 202
Woo!
of 202 of Hot Jobs today. Me and Tara are here to share the hottest jobs we've got for you, along with some insight into the transition. How are you doing today, Tara?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. If you hear any snoring, it's not me. My one dog is sleeping behind me, and he's snoring really loud. So I have
Oh,
not fallen asleep on you guys.
so I doubt you would. Somehow, I wish I could hear the snoring. I feel like there would be a cuteness factor there.
It is cute. It is cute.
For those of you who are joining us, let us know in the chat. Would you like to hear her dog snoring or not? Right?
You would like to. It's very cute.
So, does your dog have the hood on and all the
He
other stuff?
does. Yeah, still has the hood on. He's being a really good sport about it. And even so we have 3 dogs. Our newest dog also is a big snorer. And she's tiny. She snores.
Well, they just must be comfortable. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Deep in slumber.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Let us know in the comments where you're joining in from. If there's any specific job you're looking for, we're going to get into the titles later, and that we will do our best to engage. If you have questions about anything that we're talking about, please feel free to bring those up as well. We will address them as we can. I see we've got Lauren joining in. She says she would love to hear your dog snoring, and so would Linda.
So many yeses.
I'm noticing a trend, and Ashley
Oh.
says hello. So thanks for joining us,
Hey.
everybody. And we've got Catherine saying good afternoon. All right, so this episode, everybody, is being brought to us by, or being brought to you by Acuity International. Our partners at Acuity International tackle some of the world's toughest challenges. And aside from roles at the embassy in Somalia and Iraq, some of the hardest places, they've also got a whole bunch of medical roles in the Marshall Islands, specifically Kwajalein Atoll. And let me tell you, Kwajalein is like a little dot in the middle of the Pacific. I think it's like 8 hours from Hawaii, or some 5 hours from Hawaii, but it's like 2 miles by like a mile island. But I did an interview with Lynn Cheeks. Lynn Cheek she's one of the surgical nurses there, retired Sergeant Major, which was so exciting to know, retired Army Sergeant Major. And she described Kwajalein, and it just took a different perspective. She goes, it's like resort living.
Ooh.
Like you're in like a resort hotel room if you're single. Like if you come out there, you're in like a resort hotel room. Your meals are all there. There's beach, sunset, sunrises, $12 flights to Hawaii.
Wow.
Space A, $12 flights to Hawaii.
Can't beat that.
Yacht clubs, the other islands you could explore. And if you spend 330 days outside of the United States, it's tax-free. So if you're in the medical field and you're interested in resort living, where you can look at one side of the island for sunrise and just turn around and look at the other side for sunset, I would check out Acuity International. But you can also look at some of the roles we have at HireMilitary.us. We'll pass your resume right over to John Vest and the team. All right. We've got New Jersey come in looking for product manager. I love it. My Frenchies snore like crazy. So I feel your pain. I don't think it's pain. Everybody, it's cute. Foxfire, North Carolina. That's a cool name. And here's Seattle looking for training and development. And we've got Fort Cavazos as well, and Hampton Roads. So we've actually got a pretty diverse community here today. All right, everybody. Before we get into the jobs, I wanted to bring up a topic that is near and dear to our hearts, and that is the translation of your military titles to civilian roles. And let me explain a little bit of the background on this. So when recruiters do searches, they're usually searching by job title, right? And if you don't have that job title in your profile, you will not show up in the search results. And so the challenge is you have to translate your title, But for a lot of you, you can't be an HR manager, an operations manager, and a logistics manager. Those are 3 separate jobs. So you kind of have to make sense along the way, meaning you can't be a logistics manager and then the next job an HR manager and then the next job a project manager. It's not a pipeline. It's going to make sense to anyone that hasn't served. And so what I came up with, well, let me go over to you, Tara. What are your thoughts on translations from not having served?
Yeah, I think it can be really tricky in a 2-pronged way, right? Like you said, when we are actively recruiting for a role using some type of technology, whether that's like a LinkedIn recruiter or looking at our candidate database, we are typically looking for people that have either previously held a specific role or have specific skills. And so right before we started recording, this kind of came up as like in conversation that sometimes when someone has relabeled their role, the example I gave was like some type of analyst, but with the description of the role, nothing is being analyzed. And so I think of an analyst in like data sets and IT and finance. And when I'm looking at that role for someone who's labeled themselves as an analyst, but they're leading people and programs, there's like a really big disconnect from what the industry thinks is an analyst and what you have labeled yourself as an analyst. And so I think there needs to be a little bit more research that if you're using a title, if you're trying to translate a position to what you think a civilian title might be, there needs to be a little bit more research on what the civilian world thinks that title is. And so, Mike, I think you had some really good tips on if you're selecting a title for yourself, how to find out if that title is typically appropriate for what your skill set is.
Yeah, no, thank you, Tara. I actually posted about it this morning because I see people make titles up.
Yeah.
Like strategic leader or executive manager or even just servant leader as a job title. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. So what I said is I have a 3-step rule to determine if you are translating correctly. The first step is whatever you think you're going to make that title into, do a LinkedIn job search or do a Google search to like see if that job exists. Like make sure that when you do that search, there are a whole bunch of results that have that exact job title on there. Again, exact job title. So if you're going to say like, executive project director, like if you don't see executive project director on there, it's not a job. You're making stuff up. Go back, right? So do the Google search, do the LinkedIn job search or Monster, Indeed, whatever. Make sure that there's more than just like 1 or 2 of those jobs. There has to be a bunch of those jobs for it to make sense. Then when they do exist, then what you need to do is go in and read a bunch of them and go straight to the top 5 must-haves or requirements, for the role and read those requirements, but really focus on the top 5. Those are going to be the most important. We always put them at the top and say, do you have them, right? If it says you need experience doing this, or if you need a certification in this and you don't have it, go back to step 1. You're not qualified, right? Go back to step 1 until you're able to go get that stuff, right? Now, if you do have it, then step 3 is to talk to like 5 people in that field that have been at that level. Very important. You don't ask a private, what's it like to be a sergeant major, right? You don't ask a sergeant, what's it like to be a major, or a colonel, right? So you want to look for 5 people that have been in the field at that level. And then just ask their advice. Like, I think I'm this. I think it fits. What do you see? And they'll give you the unvarnished opinion of someone that's in industry that's hired for those roles. And then if the answer is yes, then you're good. Translate away with their help. If the answer is no, go back to step 1 and 2 again, because you're making too large of a leap. And I'll tell you, the only thing that will overcome that leap is a relationship. And so if like a relationship where someone has the authority to hire, and so if they say you're not qualified, unless you go get X, Y, and Z, then what I would do is go get X, Y, and Z if it's possible. Go do these things and go back to them and say, I got my cert, I got the training with this experience. Like engage with them, show them the value of their experience. Because if someone knows you're a high performer and you're going to work and you're going to put an effort and show up, they can overlook little things. But if you're one of 400 people that apply for a role and you're missing one or two of the top 5 must-haves, you're at the bottom of the pile and you're not going to get hired. And so you really have to think about that when it comes to translating your title. So my advice is do not translate anything when you start your transition. When I teach all the admirals and the generals, I tell them just make it look exactly like your bio. They write a big official bio with all the jobs and all the schools and put a nice command photo there. Just make it that for the time being. And then focus on having conversations with people. It's easier when they can see at a glance that you're still serving. And then as you get closer and you build this huge network and do all these informational interviews and understand what you want to do and why you're qualified to do it, that's when you can start to translate it. But it doesn't help you to translate at further than 2 to 3 months from the day you can start, right? Because that's the earliest the recruiter's going to be able to hire you anyway. And so outside of that, focus on the network. When you're in that 2 to 3 months, focus on the translation. Anything you'd add, Tara?
Yeah, I think that in the civilian sector, when we're talking about job descriptions, things like senior or director mean a level of experience. And so giving yourself like a senior level title, senior engineer or director of engineering, that to the recruiter means that you should have a director 10 plus years of experience in that field. And if you don't, there's a big disconnect there. So be cautious about throwing in extra words if it's not going to be backed up with experience. And I think that when I talk about our jobs today, that is something that is going to come up. So I think it's a well-timed conversation.
And so what I'll say is that 20 years of military experience does not automatically equal 10 years of industry experience. You have to figure out what parts of your military career are going to line up with that. And I had somebody this morning comment, well, one of the things had senior manager, and I'm like, senior manager is a title. It's like a rank. It's not a job. Senior manager of what?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got to focus on the industry. Where does the relevant experience? And real quick, we've got Lauren with, you can't, hold on, I got to come up over here. She wrote a lot. So I want to like support her with this. But what I'll say is, Lauren, based on what I read here, it looks like you haven't really done the career exploration necessary to choose your next career path and what aligns to it as we described. When I see program management, project management, what I don't see is any type of industry where you have experience. We can't just put you in charge. Am I going to put you in charge of an IT project, maybe an IT modernization project? What about a medical records HIPAA project? What about a construction project? Would you run that? And so there's just this generic project and program management. Program is for us E9s because we're important. And trust me, I was there. We should be in charge. I can't be a project manager. I should be a program manager. My first sergeants or projects. So I would say that. So what I would say, Lauren, is I would focus on doing informational interviews to figure out what you want to do and what you're qualified to do, what aligns up. And then we've got Catherine saying she has a lot of health IT experience, but I have a degree in Homeland Security, former Navy corpsman that worked for DHA. So a couple things. I never recommend sending a resume unless someone asks for it. So don't send a resume in the message. What I would do is connect with Tara, just connect and see if she has anything. I think there could be some opportunities with Acuity International, potentially, depending on your background. Yeah. But really what I'd say is the degree doesn't matter as much. It's check you have a degree. If you have a lot of health IT experience, there are a lot of opportunities in industry. You just got to network your way there. All right. So we got a little off track in a good way with the topic of choice. I think you've got some jobs to share, right, Tara?
I do. Yeah, I'm going to start with our full-time opportunities first. And this is with our partners who are a global underwriting company, AIG. And this particular position is a senior analyst position. And this is where this, made me think this senior analyst needs at least 3 years of experience in a legal field. And so they are someone who has experience with complex claims in a legal aspect, like mass tort, mass casualty, and environmental claims. And so this is one where we know, I think that people see analyst and they don't read the description or the requirements and they automatically submit their resume. And I absolutely understand that, but I encourage you to read more about the position before hitting submit, because this really requires a legal aspect. They will not take anyone with less than 3 years because of that senior level. They have some entry-level positions not currently open, but the senior analyst needs at least 3 years of experience. We have another role with this company at a director level that needs at least 5 years of experience. And that's why I brought up the titles really do mean something because of the levels of experience. So these positions are available in a number of cities: Jersey City, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Atlanta. And we have all of those as well as more details on this position on our website. So you're free to check that out. And then while I have the floor, I will also highlight a SkillBridge opportunity. So remember, this is an opportunity for those in their last or approaching their last 180 days of service. This is not a full-time opportunity. This is a SkillBridge opportunity with our partners at Texas Instrument. We have a current opening for a SkillBridge position at the Santa Clara location. So beautiful. If you love warm weather in California, this could be for you. Okay, it's a R&D type position, lab position, and it could be an immediate start. I know that we have a number of other starts starting in September, but they are flexible on the start date with this one. Some type of electrical or mechanical experience is preferred. 3 to 5 years is preferred. I'll certainly, interview folks with less to see if it's a good fit, especially for this location. We do struggle to fill Santa Clara, probably because it's so beautiful. You don't want to work. So you just want to spend your time outside. But if you're interested in that, again, you can contact me directly, or best yet, apply on our website so I can look at your resume.
Love it. I love it. Thanks for sharing those, Tara. And Santa Clara does sound pretty nice.
Yeah,
although
it does.
Right now it is gorgeous out here in the DC area. I went out for a walk during lunch and it was just amazing. But we did have a couple quick comments. One,
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what. Maybe it's the Randall Cunningham jersey sitting right there. But I do want to bring out that once again, all the analysts on ESPN and others said that Howie Roseman did it again. They had a top 10 talent at number 31. So I'm excited about this draft class. They completely put a lot of speed and power into the defense. And I think we've got a really good shot at running it back. So go Birds.
Go Birds.
If you're in the DC area, I will probably see you at the Eagles versus Commanders game whenever they let out the schedules. So I like to go to those games. And if you don't see me at the game, you will see me in the USO tent where they serve free mission barbecue to service members, veterans, and military spouses.
Wow.
So,
nice.
And we've got another one as well. William says, go Birds. A lot of Eagles fans out there. So I have a couple quick jobs before we end up for the day. The first one is at CNC Boiler, which is a family-owned company. They have service technician roles in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Now, these are SkillBridge. They will also take some direct hire if you have some kind of good mechanical experience. But the SkillBridge opportunities, they are training you. If you have any kind of hands-on experience, the technical experience, that they are training you to be a service technician on the big the company boilers, like the really big service boilers for like the large buildings and stuff like that. So they go out and sell service and install those. The SkillBridge opportunity will lead directly to a full-time job that at the average starts out around mid-60s, but you get up towards 6 figures really quick with with overtime, travel, everything else involved. And so if you're interested in the SkillBridge or direct hire opportunity at CNC Boiler, again, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, just check it out, HireMilitary.us. The other ones are account managers with our partners at Heritage Construction in Texas, Central Texas. What I love about this is it's a hybrid type role. Basically, what they do is they do a lot of insurance and construction repair. And so whenever there's a weather event in the area, then they go out to where the affected areas are, the impacted areas, and they offer with companies to do a free inspection and provide them the data to file an insurance claim. And if they like it and they want Heritage to do the work, then Heritage will file the claim and handle everything. It's a fantastic service. What I love is that you get a chance to help people. A lot of people look at sales as being salesy, and it's not salesy when you're helping someone, right? It is a pain in the butt to call insurance agencies yourself and try to document everything yourself and everything else. And you can have someone, involved and knowledgeable about the process, just take the leadership on that. So if you're interested in a SkillBridge opportunity or going direct into account management roles in the Central Texas area with Heritage Construction, go out and check the roles out. Send a tailored resume our way, and we'll get you in the process. And then the last one is we save the best for last, is our friends at Defense Logistics Agency. So DLA Finance is a great agency responsible for all the finance support to this Department of Defense agency that supports the warfighter all over the world. And so what DLA Finance is looking for are SkillBridge internships right now because there's a hiring freeze. SkillBridge internships as financial analysts, business analyst, financial liaison, and the descriptions are on HireMilitary.us. And then accountants and accountant systems. And so you can do flexible lengths of time in any of those roles with a pathway to a GS role, civilian role, whenever the hiring authorities exist. I will tell you, we have somebody finishing up in the next few weeks, and they don't have hiring authority right now, but their management has told them that we will track you down as soon as we get hiring authorities. We will track you down and make you a job offer, whether you accept it or not. We will track you down and make you an offer, which is just an incredible feeling. And they've enjoyed their experience there. They will use rapid and direct hire authorities to get you in. They're very tip of the spear when it comes to hiring practices. So I encourage people that are looking for a career in government service, still supporting the warfighter, potentially pivoting into the finance industry with some finance background, to go ahead and check out the roles at HireMilitary.us. We'll get you in for those DoD SkillBridge or Army Career Skills Program internships. So Tara, any last words aside from your love for the Eagles?
Oh man, I think aside from my love for the Eagles, to go to HireMilitary.com, you can always join our jobs pool or our SkillBridge pool, so you can be up to date on the latest positions. We have a lot of things working behind the scenes that are just not ready for publish yet. And to know when they come out, best way to do that is to be in our jobs pool or a SkillBridge pool, and you can sign up for that at our website.
Great. I love it. And so, first of all, we've got Catherine, business analyst for DLA, full-time, just applied. Just to understand that we are sitting, if it's full-time, that means you applied for a direct hire role. We are sitting on those resumes until they have hiring authority. So if you applied for a job at DLA Finance, we cannot send the resumes right now because they cannot hire them. What we're doing is we're going through them and racking and stacking them so that as soon as hiring authorities exist, we send them back over to them. They're ready to go, start doing these interviews and get people hired as soon as possible. Now, if it's a SkillBridge internship, then we can get you into the process immediately. And then we've got a couple others. Timothy saying, thank you. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you, Timothy.
Catherine, I know our CEO, Nick Gismondi, would support you for that statement. But, they called me and asked me if I would play quarterback for the Steelers this year. And I'm like,
busy.
I don't think I got it anymore. Like I used to be able to do it.
It's going to interfere with hot jobs.
I will say, having been on the field during an Eagles Commanders game, like on the field during the game, I was like 15, 20 feet from a running play. And I remember hearing the running back get hit, just the sound. And I said that would have been it for me. And I'm 6'2", 240. I'm not a little guy. It would have been done. Like they would have carted me off the field from that one normal running play. So when you see those up close and you see how big those players, it perspective.
Yeah.
And so last one we got, we do not currently have any opportunities in Puerto Rico, David, but what I would say is to focus heavily on networking in Puerto Rico. And if you don't know how to do it, you could reach out to USO Transitions. They will teach you, or you could attend my next Mastering LinkedIn webinar. I do one every month. So, and with that, thank you all for joining us. And Tara, talk to you later.
All right. See you guys.